totally just knocked the power out in this room, so guess I'm moving somewhere else. Okay, locations have been switched for this video since I knocked the power out downstairs. But, hi guys, it's Maggie, and today I'm going to talk about Crohn's and colitis flares. So what they are, what they feel like, how do you know you have one, what is a flare and what's remission. Yeah, I've had people ask me before what a flare is and how do you know you're in a flare? Which can be hard to tell because there are two different types of remission. Remission being kind of the absence of the disease process, but there is symptomatic remission. So that's kind of what I consider myself in. Basically, I'm having very minimal symptoms, I'm feeling good, I can function, my activity level is up, but then there's the actual remission, the physiologic remission. And that would be going in with a colonoscopy or an endoscopy or some kind of scope to actually take a look at the intestine, take some biopsies, look at it under a microscope to see if they actually see Crohn's or colitis activity. So, you know, the inflammation, the ulceration. That would be like the physiologic remission. Some people do reach that if they're on, you know, whatever medication that they're on to reduce all that inflammation and the body attacking itself. But some people only reach the symptomatic remission. Like I said, I consider myself symptomatically in remission. If you were to go in and scope me, you would see that my colon is still a complete mess, but I feel good, I'm able to function, so I'm having symptomatic relief. Obviously, it would be optimal to reach the physiologic remission because there are a lot of complications if you have ongoing inflammation, stuff like strictures and all that stuff, which we want to avoid, obviously, but sometimes we can't always get there, and we want our quality of life to be the best that it can be. And if we are symptomatically in remission, you know, and that's where we can get, hey, I'll take it. When I think about flares in my own experience, I consider myself basically having two flares. The first one being when I was a freshman, if you ever heard my story. When I was a freshman and my stricture in my colon got so bad that I became obstructed and I was having a lot of stomach pain and all of that, and then they were able to dilate it and then I had relief. Obviously the stricture still existed, but my symptoms went down because I was able to pass everything and eat again. So yeah. And then my second time that I had a flare would be when I was a junior in high school, and that was basically when I had two more strictures appear, two more narrowings, and they decided that we couldn't treat it with medication. They had to be removed surgically. And my symptoms were really terrible. Again, I couldn't eat. I was getting all backed up again, and the pain was increasing even more so than when I was a freshman. So those were my two flares, and I associate them the most with abdominal pain, which is not always what IBD is. It's one of the main symptoms, but you know, a lot of people talk about how IBD is not just a bathroom disease, and it's not, because it has all of these other manifestations that I necessarily haven't had too much experience with. IBD can affect your eyesight, and for some reason, I don't know why, I was blessed with great eyesight. Knock on wood, it'll probably disappear within the next few years, just based on when my parents started to lose their sight. But I've had great vision. Sometimes it can show up as types of arthritis, like especially RA. I know that's closely associated with IBD. So It can show up in skin issues. So there are many different manifestations that a flare can show up into beyond just the abdominal pain. Fatigue also, just lots of things. And that's where it kind of becomes difficult, because IBD shows up as so many other symptoms beyond, the abdominal pain that we always have. And it's like, okay, am I in a flare if I'm having joint pain? Am I in a flare with IBD? It's gotten so bad. Or is this a new disease? Do I have rheumatoid arthritis? So there's this like kind of fuzzy line. Where am I at? And I think that's why a lot of people do ask, how do I know if I'm in a flare? Because sometimes the symptoms don't match up with the disease. My best advice for this question is to very closely monitor your symptoms. When I was concerned that I was going into a flare, I've been symptomatic free or almost free, but I was having a little bit of, stomach upset, a little bit of this, a little bit of this. This is like a year or so ago. I started writing down every symptom I had, and, dates, time of day, what I ate that day, basically anything that could possibly contribute to my symptoms. And I brought them into my GI doctor and we talked about it, and we didn't think it was so much the IBD, but more stress. We went through a really stressful event last year. I won't go into it, but I was very, very stressed out last year, and it negatively affected my stomach. And as soon as the stressful event kind of calmed down, I calmed down. But I just really closely monitored my symptoms, and that's basically the best that you can do, because everybody's different. You can't go based on my story. You can't go based on somebody else's story. You have to learn your own body, and you have to advocate for yourself. Unfortunately, you can't rely on doctors or others to know exactly what to do with you, because you know your body best. So monitor the symptoms, look for trends. If there's a certain thing that's triggering you and making things worse, maybe that's the cause of a possible flare-up, or maybe it's the IBD progressing. But definitely keeping some sort of journal like that would be so helpful for your GI, as well as your other doctors if you are seen for multiple things. It's so helpful, because it's like all the questions that your doctor is going to ask you, you can be like, here you go, here's my book of info, written down, take it, document it, boom. Crohn's disease flares can be very confusing, because it could be something as simple as, you ate raw carrots and your body can't handle that. And you might not be in a flare, but your stomach, you have sensitive intestines, you just can't handle it. Or it could be your disease. Like, it's very confusing. That's why you just have to monitor yourself so closely. And, keep up to date with all your doctors too, because they're the ones writing this down in their charting systems. They're keeping track. They have the medical records on you. They're keeping everything together as well. So keeping them up to date on any info that you have will help decide what's going on and what the best next step would be for you. If it's going to a new medication, or if it's altering your diet, altering what you do, if you're having stress triggers or whatever. Yeah. So again, just a lightly coverage of different types of remission and flares. And if anybody would like anything more in depth, I would love to do research. I only have my own experiences to draw from and what I see as a nurse. And guys, I'm a brand new nurse, so don't even go off that. But just let me know, and I would love to do research and see what I can find for us. Alright, so I'm hoping Zach gets home soon so he can go into our scary basement. Guys, our basement is like out of a horror movie. Oh my god, I should show you sometime. You guys will be like... I want him to go downstairs and flip the switch thing, the breaker, to turn the lights back on because it's getting dark and I don't want to be downstairs in the dark. Ugh. This house is kind of creepy. It's over 200 years old and there are like secret compartments in the floor on our 3rd floor. Like, you break open and we have all these weird closets. Like, I don't even go on the 3rd floor. I don't, because it's creepy. And then in our basement we have a well, like just in the wall, just hanging out there. When we first came to see this house, Daisy almost jumped in the well. So now the dogs are not allowed in the basement because apparently Daisy wants to go swimming and I don't feel like fishing my dog out of a well. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you would like to see in the comments below. And have a great day. I hope you all are feeling good. All right, bye.